Hi everyone, I'm Dana Hokana and I'm here with Kelly and Lily. And one of the most common problems that a lot of my riders have is reorganizing their reins after a lateral move. The lateral exercises that I teach so many of and teach all over, and I know Kelly's doing a lot of them, are so beneficial to the horse. But in that final moment, when we're coming out of our lateral exercise and coming back to going straight, there's an open door potential for our horse. Right, Kelly? Haven't you struggled with that?
Yes.
Because Kelly will pick her reins up and reorganize like this, and so does another girl that I do video lessons with, because it's just a typical problem everyone has. I have it too. And so I've really worked on several ways to organize my reins. And let me see if I can just kind of show you like this. So first of all, some people ride with their reins split apart like that. And I'm not saying that's not totally fine. And in fact, if you're going straight forward, sometimes that's okay because you have a good range of motion. But when you do lateral work, the only way to get down a rein if they're split apart is to fold up on it like this, or inch your hand down, or grab your other hand to hold it and then slide down. So it's potentially harder to do lateral work and shorten and lengthen and reorganize your rein when you ride like this. Now, that's why most of the time when I'm doing lateral exercises, I'll cross my reins over the middle and I'll ride like this. So here are some of my common ways that I will reorganize my reins later. And we have to remember that we can teach our horses a behavior if we give them a signal. Like I know, Kelly, you and I have worked on you not picking your hand up to get your adjustment. And the reason you pick your hand up is you want to be on a fairly long rein, and the only way to take a hold of that rein is to come back here or pick it on up, right? And so instead of picking it up, because when we pick it up, then we have a whole different direction to pull and an open door. And what I've seen is some of the horses, their heads came up, right? Because you did this, so their head came up to that pole. So you lost them. You lost them in that moment from a lateral move to back to a forward move. So here are some of the main ways that I would do it. So if I'm doing, let's say I'm asking my horse to follow the nose or pushing their hip around off my leg, and what I'll be riding about like this here, you know, with some slack in between my reins and spread apart. So what I might do, here's one way, is, and let's see if you can see this real good. I might go ahead and put my reins together in one hand. Now I have a point of reference, and now I have hold of both reins, and I also know where I am as far as length of the reins goes. I will take my free hand that I'm going to move my horse that way, and I'll slide down my rein and then let go of that and come around, ask them to follow the nose. Then when I'm going to go back to riding straight forward, I have my hand here and here. My reins are, you know, all uneven now, and I've got to come back forward. So it's really easy to want to come up here like what you were doing. Instead, what I'll do is I'll come back to center again, and I'll shorten my reins and slide down one rein, grab hold of it, slide down the other rein, and now I'm low and back down in position. Make sense? So this is my most common way that I do that. And everybody has a different method. And whatever works for you is fine. I'm just trying to help you with ideas. So here I am again. I want to follow the nose. I'll pick up to center, slide my hand down this spare rein, follow the nose. I'm done. I let go. I come back to center. I make a loop, come down, get back in position where I want. Even if there's too much slack in here, I can still do that low and then smoothly take some of the slack out of here, right? And I can maneuver them any way I want that way, all right? Another way that I might do that is here I am, and I'm gonna follow the nose, and I'm gonna slide my hand down my right rein. Now I wanna reorganize to go back straight. And so instead what I might do is when I'm still following the nose, right, I might take a moment and just come to center and get down this rein, the outside rein to be ready, come down here, slowly put my reins through here, And I basically slowly reorganize as I get out of the maneuver.
I've been trying to do that.
This is how you're trying to do it, okay? Right?
But you did teach me the other way, going back to center.
Yes.
Starting at center, follow the nose, back to center. And I've been practicing that.
And so those are two ways. And another possible way that I've used before too is, here I am, say I don't go to center, okay? Say I just walk down those reins, come here, ask for them to follow the nose, and if I'm real good with it, then I walk back out of those reins as I'm bridling and come in there, right? So my only problem with the walking down the rein and coming back out is I personally have trouble gauging how much how far down I went and how much I let out. And I see young riders and cowboy kind of guys try to get real handy with, which I think is an inaccurate way, okay? Not putting them down. I mean, and maybe they're good at it and it's fine, but why I think that's an inaccurate way to come up and down your reins is because as you're doing that, you are sending signals to that horse the whole way. So watch the end of this shank. Think if I'm up on him where my leverage position is different. I'm like sending messages. And so I don't think that's being super good with your hands. So to kind of recap, the first way that I do that I like is I'm riding like this. I come to center with my other rein. And sometimes before I do the maneuver, I'll shorten my rein. But one thing you have to be careful of, so say I'm gonna follow the nose and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna shorten up my reins. But if they're real short and I pull their head right, I might be trapping them with my outside rein. Always understand you have a lead rein and you have an indirect rein. And your lead rein is sending where you want to go, but your indirect rein should not trap them unless you want to. Because out of a maneuver like follow the nose, or same thing if you push their hip around, you pull their head to the outside, out of a maneuver like that, you don't want to trap them here until you're going to head back forward. Then your outside rein will slightly trap or collect or connect with them rather than trap. Trap would be a word that's a negative connotation, meaning they have nowhere to go and it's going to make a horse mad. Trapping isn't what we want, but when we go back from a lateral move to a forward move, we want connection with our outside or indirect rein. So remember, our lead rein sends our signal. Our indirect rein can block or trap incorrectly, or even just collect, right? So everyone pays attention to that lead rein in your follow the nose, but don't forget the indirect or off rein.
Well, I'm trying to think of what happens with my indirect or outside rein when
Right.
I come out of a maneuver. I
Right.
can't even.
Well,
It's all
usually
disorganized.
it's all like long and disorganized. Your hand comes up in the air and then you try to grab it and then the horse's head comes straight up and they've gone 2 feet to the left and forgotten about that right. You've lost the whole move.
Yeah.
So as important as these lateral exercises that I teach are, is your organization and regrouping to forward. Because the whole point of a lateral exercise is you gain control of their head and neck and their motion. Okay, you took them off center laterally and controlled their motion as they did that exercise. Now you're going to regroup and take your motion and go back forward. So in the moment between the lateral exercise and the moment going forward is make or break it. You know, your exercise may have given them, you know, a 7 in a good lesson, and then you lost it down to a 3 because then they went, aha, I'm chumping you good and I'm fading left and my head's in the air, and maybe you lost the whole benefit of it, right? And so another really important, another way I have, so I've given you kind of 3 ways. I have a 4th way. And the 4th way is you do your lateral moves and then you stop your horse. You just stop them, reorganize your reins, take a hold of them as you walk forward, because in a way, if you've done a lateral move like that and you're on a greener horse that needs collection, and you've done a lateral move and you're ready to go forward, all of a sudden if you stop your horse, reorganize your reins, pitch them and go forward, you haven't done a negative yet. But if you're wanting to then go to handling collection in hand, you then have to make new moves to get there, right? So I would follow the nose, stop, reorganize my reins, flutter my hands, take a hold of them, push them forward to their face. And so then go back forward.
Yeah.
So those are my 4 little pointers on becoming organized and going forward after a lateral move.
Thank you.
You're
I need to work on
welcome.
that.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed that training tip, and I know that there's good information that can help you and your horse to be the best you can be. Please check out my website at hokana.com